Hi, welcome to Fish Keep in Jamaica. This is Riley here. In my archaeology sequence or series, I should say, I have been speaking about the fish anatomy, and I started with the swim bladder. I hope that you have enjoyed part 1, part 2, and part 3. Today, I'll be looking at how you can treat your fish for swim bladder disorder. Stay tuned. I hope you'll find this one interesting.
Some cry, some smile, some fight every day. We rise to the top, 'cause we know what it takes. Through it all we survive, yet still hold the faith. Unchangeable, Lord, unchangeable.
Don't feel less excited because you don't see any tanks around the place with regards to fish and all that. At times the distraction kind of leads you away from actually penetrating on what is being said. Thus, I use this medium so as to share with you information I've researched, gathered, and I've been actually applied over the years. Now follow me as I actually share with you some common ways in which you can manage, or should I say treat, your fish with a swim bladder ailment. Now, how do you manage swim bladder disorder? Swim bladder disease is not contagious, but you are advised to move the fish with this ailment to a special tank where treatment can be better administered. I had a fish once, well, I have 24 goldfish who actually died, and my post-mortem revealed that they died from swim bladder issue, but it was 24 of them. It was really difficult for me to actually deal with 24 of them one time. Out of the 24, I only saved one. Okay, what happened is that I had done 99% water change, right? I placed them into a bucket of clean water, but what happened is that the clean water was there. I think the clean water temperature was okay, but what happened is that the sudden change over back to their regular pond water, that actually affected their libido. So as a result of that, there was a lot of gasping and all that, so therefore it affected their the flow of balance, right, the buoyancy of them in the water. But after realizing that probably about 21, 23 of them died, between 21 and 20, I think I'd saved one, right? I took the last one, which was a cod, and I placed it into a basket, and I actually lift the basket up to the surface, about 2 inches above the surface, right to the surface, right, 2 inches away from the surface, right? And I placed air hose in it, and the air hose was blasting for the whole night, and the fish was there like it could hardly manage to swim, but the basket was holding it up. And then in the morning, and I returned back to the tank, observing the fish was all good, right? But this is just my experience. Now let's go back into the steps in which I would advise you to follow with regards to treatment of your fish if you do have swim bladder disorder. Okay, so the first thing is to identify the problem. If the problem is not identified at the appropriate time or at a really good time, your fish will automatically die because it will reach a stage in which it cannot be managed, right? Okay, you also need to observe what waste the fish is passing, that is, when the fish actually pass waste during this period of time, you observe the waste, right? You want to observe the waste. You want to observe the fish passing waste, because you observing the fish passing waste can actually help you to determine whether or not it's the water quality that is causing this, or whether or not the fish is constipated, right? Because once you realize the problem that have actually caused the swim bladder disorder, then now you can address that problem and you can make it more appropriate for the fish to manage its situation. Okay, 2. Add 2 teaspoons of non-iodized salt and the same amount of Epsom salt per gallon to the water. I mean, you put some Epsom salt and salt in the water, and that's supposed to help allow the swim bladder to kind of work better. Okay, step 3, do not feed the fish for the next 2 to 3 days or more. So once the fish have swim bladder disorder, don't feed them. Alright, wait until you can see evidence that the fish is passing waste. Now, if the fish is not passing waste and is swimming upside down or sideways, it has swim bladder disorder, because one of the common markers that you use to indicate whether or not a fish have swim bladder disorder is the fact that it is constipated. One of the reasons why it gets so swollen is because it's constipated. Alright, wait until it has regained its balance before you start feeding that fish again. Alright, if the fish produces waste that hangs from the the rear, right, for any length of time, and maybe light colored or have a gas bubble, right, interspersed between it, let's release another waste. This is a sure sign of indigestion, or what I call constipation. Alright, if the water temperature is very cold, the water gradually, I would gradually increase the temperature of the water. Right, so here you have, don't feed the fish, take the fish from that tank, don't feed the fish, observe the stool, increase the temperature, and you move on. Right, now if this treatment, and add salt. Right, now if the treatment fix the problem after a day or two, feed a small amount of food to the fish. Right, include some green food such as cooked shell peas. Cooked shell peas, you squeeze out the middle of the peas, the meaty part, the fleshy part, not the skin, because they can't digest the skin. Right, you squeeze out the meaty part and give it to them. Right, and make sure that this passes through the fish before further feeding. That means, peas, green peas, that means that the stool would be green, right? Ensure that it's passed out before you feed them anything else, because peas help them in the constipation. It's good if you can give the peas to the fish even before constipation starts. 1 or 2 times, like say once a month or 2 times a month, you can give him some crushed peas. Right? Slowly increase the amount of food, feeding only live food and green peas for at least a week before introducing the fish back to the aquarium or the pond. So try and see if you can get some live food, or like for example some Daphne, some brine shrimp, some infusion, some live food you try to feed the fish. Right, first test the water pH and the nitrates and check the food you are using. Right, so I advise you, when dealing with swim bladder disorder, there are several different dimensions you need to look at, and I shared with you some of them before, and the new one now I'm sharing with you is the fact that you need to test the pH of the water, whether it is too alkaline or too acidic. Right, if it's any doubt with regard to the freshness of the water, throw it out. Right, or else the condition will gradually return. Now, if the fish doesn't improve after a few days, different treatments will be required depending on what occurred over the past few days. So my advice to you is that it is a process. Just like when you go to the doctor and the doctor prescribes some medication for you and it doesn't work, you try different things until it works. Now, you can treat the fish with antibiotics. There are several different antibiotics out there which you can use. Now, as a fish keeper, you should have a stock of meds for your fish for every single common ailment, one of which is swim bladder disorder. If the fish hasn't passed anyways, don't feed it any further. 2 days, right? Let it stay for 2 days. Then try to get it to eat peas or other vegetable matter. Don't feed it other foods until it has passed what is in the gut, because by now this food will be fermenting and producing gas. So it's the fermentation of the food in the stomach, creating gas that actually affects the buoyancy of the fish. Right? A fish that keeps floating to the surface will start develop redness on areas that are exposed to the air when the fish rests. Now, sometimes the fish is just so weak, struggling so much to feed itself. You're gonna have to hand feed that fish if you really want that fish. Right, so you take up the fish. Well, you can do it 2 ways. You can take up the fish and push the feed in your mouth and put it back in your water. Well, I am not 100% sure. Probably I'm incorrect with that. But you hand feed the fish. Right now, fish do get sick and fish do die. This video is just to share with you some ideas as to how to manage your swim bladder, fish swim bladder. One way in which I would advise persons that are not in the habit for a very long time, that are not experienced. One thing that you could do is to identify the swollen swim bladder. Use a pin or a needle with a syringe, right, and actually stick it into the swim bladder and actually draw out some of that thing that exists within the swim bladder. Right, that should make the stomach actually ease down a little bit. Treatment over the years have worked. I hope that this video was of assistance to you. Thank you for watching Fish Keeping Jamaica. Next video, I will share more aquariology. Next video, I will show you more aquariology and facts of the uses of the different aspects of the fish anatomy in its daily struggle to survive. Right here.